Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks. What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the GFG Knives K2100. Who the heck is that? I have no idea. But I'll tell you what. One of the most interesting knife websites, at least in terms of like stuff that you don't normally see, is Exclusive Folders. And that's where this came from. Now, there are some other brands sold on that website that are very, very familiar. And a lot of really interesting like Poikilo Mundus stuff shows up there. So I'm not sure who the OEM is, but I have two requests for the website there, the website owner of Exclusive Folders. Number one, if you could disclose who the OEM is, because this feels very, very similar, very familiar to a lot of the higher end, and I mean like the upper end of the Chinese production OEMs that we're all familiar with. So I would hope that GFG Knives is able to disclose this. I know that sometimes, you know, like for example, Riat will get really weird about who can put their name on the knife, even though they actually made it, right? So this isn't the fault of GFG, and I'm not saying it's the fault of Exclusive Folders. It's likely that the OEM doesn't want people to know who they are for whatever reason, and my answer to that, if that is true, is I don't care. You should tell the world who you are so that we know who you are. So that, whoever the shadow entity is. But it also could be that, whoops, nope, they totally are okay with it, and we'll just put it on the website, right? So either way, I'd like to know who they are. Yeah, this is absolutely a super duper nice knife. Real crazy, kind of gives me that crazy in terms of like Poikilo Mundus or Max Ace, but like with extreme quality vibe, definitely. Another thing that I would really love to find on this, because I like this website, it's really cool. There's lots of cool stuff there. List the HRC range of you know where we're getting this steel. People want to know, especially when they're spending money at this price point. But anyways, thank you so much for sending this knife in. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and measure this knife. The overall length of the K2100 is 9 inches. By the way, this knife is available. They have another version, or they had another version that was DLC and zirconium Damascus that's sold out, but this version is available. 4 inches of blade and 3.75 inches of cutting edge. And believe me, we will get into that blade shape. I know the comments will come. So the category of this knife is incredibly premium and plenty capable and durable product, right? But more so in the collector enthusiast category. And for the inevitable why that follows that, the why, the answer to the why is just because. But you should be familiar with this at this point, right? Utility is not the end-all be-all reason that people buy knives in this territory. So, you know, if you want your straightforward utilitarian, there's this awesome knife called the Buck 110. It's got everything you need. Look that one up. But anyways, let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Any custom skills you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others, up against the 8010 and my own Excalibur. Big boy, definitely. Let's go ahead and put it up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Still a big boy. Let's put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, the Hogue Deca. It's still big. How's the action? Holy moly. Access to the lock bar. Very good. Nice cutout there. No rear flipper. We have a front flipper, and we have a thumb. I don't know, a thumb thing. It's almost like a Nike swoosh meets a toilet flusher. But it works. It's a little bit. This is a perfect example of something that is prioritizing stylization over ease of manipulation. But the picture that I'm painting here is not, you know, it's fully art and it's non-functional otherwise. Like, it's not that black and white. I'm saying, like, it's more artsy than it is functional, but it is still plenty functional. Like, for example, reverse flicking it, if I use the meat of my finger there to kind of tuck underneath that, this is very easy. Thumb flicking it from this side, it's pretty easy. It's all right. It's not nearly as convenient as a thumb stud, but a thumb stud would look out of place on this, right? Their goal here was very, very obvious. And the goal was to create a functional, but mostly like aesthetically striking blade. The front flipper also works great. How is the pivot action? The pivot action is extremely good. This is very smooth. So this is one of the things, along with the overall fit and finish and just the polishing here, that makes me think that this is most likely made by one of the premier high-end production Chinese OEMs that we are familiar with. I very much doubt that this is an unknown shadow company. Those do exist, and they're getting better, right? But the action's good. Can I feel the bearings? Only slightly. Only slightly. Just a little bit. Very, very smooth. Solid lockup, all of that. This one actually could do for a slight turn of the pivot. So before I tell you that the action is solid, let me give that little pivot there. Let me give it a little bit of turn, because I was playing with this for quite a while, right? So let's get it. Okay, now we got the pivot tight. Let's make sure that the blade is tight. Okay, now there's no blade play. Does it still fall shut? It absolutely does. Very, very good action. Very, very good. Okay, let's go ahead and do carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. That's pretty thick. Length and height up against the PM2 and the Para 3. Yes, I'm going to talk about that polished bit of titanium right there. Don't worry. This is going to take up quite a bit of room in your pocket. It's also very angly, right? I mean, like, it's going to be a slightly awkward. It's something that you're going to have to adapt to if you choose to carry this. And there are plenty of people who carry knives at these price points. There's more people who do not, right? But if you're somebody who's going to buy this and actually carry it, you'll have to adapt to it. It will not be comfortable in athletic shorts or dress pants. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. Now, we've already checked the pivot. I think, unfortunately, the body screws are a T6. Yeah. Note to the company here, don't use T6. Use T8. And honestly, with this really striking aesthetic on the front side, this is beautiful. Just kick the screw here. Just use one long screw that threads into the... I'm not saying everybody needs to do this, but when you have an aesthetic like this, like the little weird screw there, you know, it's like... I'm trying to think of something, like, imagine you have a poster of like the mid 2000s or early 2000s Red Viper. Beautiful. Imagine in that shot, that's like that shot, like the classic shot of the Red Viper. Like in the corner of the picture, there's a Furby. That's what that looks like to me. Get that Furby out of there. Get it out of there. One screw, T8, thread it through so that people can see, right? It's also less hardware. As it sits, though, this is still very, very simple to take apart. As long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. Let's weigh it. What are we looking at for materials? On this version, we have M390, we have titanium, and then we have two separate chunks of polished titanium that have been separately laid into the frame. How? I believe they're screwed in. I don't know that to be the case, but that's something that we should be able to easily check, assuming that I can actually find my flashlight. And if I can't, well, then we'll just have to take a peek in here. So there's a screw right there. Are these? Yeah, they have to be. I wonder what that one, though. That one, I'm not sure. Might be. Oh, there is a screw. Look, you can see it right back there, tucked in. Tucked way back there. They're screwed in, which is good. We don't want adhesive. But that's beautiful. Separate pieces of titanium laid in. They're previously, before they're laid in, they're polished. Gorgeous. But I'll get fingerprints on it. Yeah, you will. You will. But it's still cool. Look at that. Beautiful inlay work. That's crazy. That's crazy. It almost looks like they just polished that part of it. It almost looks like they taped it off and just polished. It's all one piece, right? Unbelievable inlay work there. Really nice. Not all of the, give it 5 years and everybody will be capable of doing that. Maybe less. As of right now, not all of these Chinese OEMs are capable of that. That's very impressive. Titanium, 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 titanium. And M390. Oh, sorry about that. It's a little squeaky today. Outside of me burning this recently in one of those TSA videos, very clean new background here. Very heavy, 7.2 ounces. It's a big knife, and it's a lot of titanium. Like, backspacer is huge. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're also going to measure the blade stock thickness. I'm going to guess that's 140 to 150, perhaps 155, but probably not. 151 thousandths. Okay, meat and potatoes time. What an absolutely crazy aesthetic here. Lots of angles and curvatures. Ergonomically, does it feel good? Well, yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not going to be the most ergonomically comfortable thing in the whole world, but where there are these lines, these angles and things that are clearly, there's always people who get confused. Why would they even make that? It's not even functional. It's so inconvenient. You're right. They probably were making a knife and they tripped and fell, and oh, darn it. Gosh dang it. Guys, I was trying to make the Ontario Rat, and I accidentally made this. Oh, geez. What a screw up. This is obviously on purpose, right? As incomprehensible as that is for some people, sometimes in this territory, the aesthetic, the art, the flow of the design takes precedence over elements that would lend more to the utilitarian side. Now, I know that might be a lot to take in, but that is the case, right? Now, on the functional, because this is not a delicate knife, right? We don't want to confuse this for an actual art knife, which would be delicate. This is not a delicate object. You can take it out and use it, right? So when considering like ergonomics, it's not bad. Like, they clearly have these areas thought out. Like, this is your primary index finger position, the thumb position if you want to put it up there. Standard hammer grip, pretty good. Pocket clip, a little pointy right here, but not much of a hot spot. The areas where it's chamfered are somewhat abrupt, but not sharp. You can just see there's just a little tiny bevel, right? So it feels kind of angular, but not uncomfortable. Not nearly as much as you might think, right? A little bit of jimping there. They probably could have put a little bit more. This is one of those knives that makes the mistake of like, we'll just limit to the jimping to its functionality as a front flipper. Okay, do more, right? Here's your sharpening choil. I don't think that's bad. Like, that's pretty good. Not that that's the only thing that's going to slow this thing down from being properly sharpened over time, but yeah. As far as the flow of the aesthetic, this is a perfect example of they had a vision and they're like, we want the blade and the handle to have the same amount of busyness. That we want the aesthetic to be complete between the two. Also, the blade to handle ratio is very, very good, right? Got a lot going on here, and the blade, what do we want to call this? Compound, recurve, tanto. Yeah, I mean, like, it's got 1, 2, 3 separate grinds. And I believe that one might be hollow. That one's hollow initially, just subtly. Subtly hollow, somewhat thin. Flat tanto, thick flat grind, and then thick flat tanto edge. Lots of thickness carried out to the tip here. Lots. Two-tone finish as well. Might be like a bead blasting or probably a glass, maybe a glass blasting down here, something like that. And then we have the machine satin finish. Same thing for the stud. And then the swedge goes back to the finish as this down here. Honestly, very beautiful and expertly done. Your cutting bevel is just perfect. In fact, fit and finish all the way around on this knife is just perfect. Which is, it feels like that same, kind of Reich, Maxace, maybe Poicolo. I don't know if Poicolo is the actual name of the OEM or that's just the brand they've used, the brand name they have used to promote the knives that are made by this newer. The Poicolo OEM, whoever is Poicolo's OEM, that was one of the first times where I was like, this is made by somebody different. This is like, it's not from the same shop. So this kind of feels a little like that, but not exactly. Like, some of the knives that have come from Poicolo feel completely different than even like, some of the top tier Riots out there. So yeah, still don't know. I can't quite put a finger on it. Makes me wonder if Kevin John's associated. I know that's who does CKF knives, and CKF knives feel pretty unique as well. I don't know. Very good though. Whoever it is doing a really good job. Backspacer. Flat here, comes down, got some It's like robot dragon scale, dragon spine kind of. I'm not really sure. Love that you guys did the inlay on both sides. That's really nice. Keeps it looking complete. The GFG on the backspacer looks a bit, it's too much. A little NASCAR, you know. I think you guys should keep with, if this is your logo, keep it here and then keep this off the clip. I do appreciate that you guys kept all the branding outside of the main logo here. That is the logo. As far as I know, there's no other knives by this brand. Like, this is it. Maybe I'm wrong. But we got like the GFG logo. We have this, what appears to be a unique pivot logo, and we have this. Like, pick one of those things and then just leave it there. And honestly, in the future, this logo here, put it over here. Because this is very, like, this is super cool. I mean, this is like, this was the aesthetic that you wanted, you know, to draw people in. So don't muddy it up by putting the logo here and the screw here. Now, a lot of people get on me and they're like, how come you're not consistent about this? Because some knives, it just doesn't matter as much. Like, this knife is clearly meant to be an aesthetic work of art that is also functional. Am I going to get upset that, you know, Hogue put it on their, you know, on their Deca? No, because it's not, it's the Deca. It's not this. It's not nearly as bad. Like, generally speaking, I'm like, reduce the logo size. But on something like this, put it on the non-show side and make it smaller and get rid of that screw, right? Show it off. This is cool. You guys are clearly capable. Show it off. Pocket clip, it's a little, I wish it was moved up. I don't think you guys need this lanyard hole here, right? I mean, I guess, how many people who are going to buy this knife are specifically interested in attaching a lanyard to it? Not very many. Some, there'll be the guy in the comments who's not interested at all. And he's like, I would put a lanyard on it. Okay. High five to your face. But, no, that's going to make people mad. Just put a little hand sanitizer on my hands here. Maybe a little olive oil. I'm sorry, I'm making myself laugh. We don't need this here. Move the pocket clip back. This tip is a little, it's a little far, right? The ramp underneath needs to be closer to the tip so that it's not quite so pointy and it's not quite fighting the pocket seam as much for people who care to carry it, which there will be some. I do like that you have a hidden pocket clip over here, and it's understandable why we do not have a reversible or left-handed mounting position because in this case, it really is an aesthetic that they're trying to keep consistent, and you would have to have a symmetrical pocket clip, and we don't. I love how we have sort of milled the lock bar relief to go along with the general theme. Like, these lines are clearly meant to connect with the polished parts here. And up here, this looks like a large tritium slot. And I'm sure that that's actually what that is, which is cool. I think that's neat for people who decide to do that. We have a seal lock bar insert that doubles as the over travel stop. There's a massive stop pin back here. Absolutely zero blade play, up, down, left to right, no lock stick, no pivot lash. Very, very smooth and consistent in here. I will point out that you can get pinched a little bit by this front flipper, so watch out. Beautiful detent, and absolutely, is it slightly off to the left? Let's see here if it's my imagination or if it is. It appears it might be. Maybe I over-tightened it. Hold on. Let's check. This is important at this price point. T8. Let's see here. What happens if I loosen it up a little bit? Oh, it did go back to the other side. Okay, so this, I think, is just a tightening tolerance issue. Okay. A little bit. Let's go a little bit back. The key is to center it and have absolutely perfect lockout. Nailed it. Have to get it tightened exactly right. But yeah, that would be an indication of perfect tolerances. Okay. Pretty cool. Obviously not going to be for everybody. Obviously. This is going to come down to individual tastes and preferences, right? If you feel like you have good taste and you don't like how this knife looks, well, unfortunately, you only have about 10 billion other choices, right? But this comes down to individual taste. As far as what you like or don't like aesthetically, nobody's right or wrong. I think this looks really cool. It's a very interesting grind. It's obviously a huge effort knife, even if it is a production Chinese knife. This is very clearly on a different level, right? So If you're going to say, I can get a knife from Artisan Cutlery that is S90V and titanium for $200, yeah, you can, but is it the same thing? No. We've seen what happens when Artisan Cutlery tries to do something like this. Do you remember the Citadel? They did try to do something like this. I would say that was a little bit more ambitious because they had to try to lay carbon fiber into it, and they did the higher polishes, right? Now, that ended up being a $450 pocket knife. Yes, the Beg Knives name was on that one, right? But that one came out and the fit and finish was, I think that right there tells you not only is it more expensive, it's a lot harder to do. Now, that was a few years ago. A lot of companies are more capable, and maybe some of those processes have become less expensive. But I'm just saying, let's compare apples to apples here, right? As far as other, like, I've told you guys how I felt about different tiers for the Chinese production knife market. $200, it basically just needs to have a properly heat-treated super steel and utilize premium materials and function well, right? I'm not expecting a lot of artsy, crazy stuff or crazy polishing or machining. Like, I'm not going to expect that there. If I find it there, I think that's cool, but I don't expect it. $250 to $300, I need a little more, right? Some contouring, maybe you do an inlay, something special. You want to charge over $300, in this case over $350 for your knife, you better bring it. You better do something wild. There is some extra here. There's a lot of really interesting machining here, and even if you don't like it, this factually costs more to do. This is laid in perfectly. The blade grind is wild. They can't just, right? What shape do you want? This. Oh, okay. It'll be $1 extra. No, not right now. Maybe in a while, but not right now. It's going to cost more money to do. Frame has a bunch of additional milling in it. It's a big backspacer. There's polishing, right? I'm not super upset with this. I think this is pretty cool, and the overall package, the overall delivered package is pretty intense. Is this a knife that I would recommend to the average person? No, not even close. Are you kidding? It's a freaking $369 giggity? I think so. Pretty expensive, closing in on $400. We're closing in on integral territory, right? But there's a lot. Just because it's approaching $400 doesn't mean it has to be integral. It's just we have to consider the elements that could be pushing it up to that price point. Very impressive. I don't think the price tag is perfect, right? I think if they had charged about $325 to $350, I think it would have been like, that feels about right, right? What am I going off? It's just gut instinct based on all the different knives that I've handled. But it's pretty good. I'm not mad about it. I think it's pretty cool. They want $600 for DLC and Timascus. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I think for that one, it's like if you wanted to charge like $450, $475 maybe. Zircotai or Zirconium Timascus is pretty pricey. Making the whole thing DLC definitely is going to bump it up, but $600, geez, well, that one's sold out, so what do I know? If you like this aesthetic and you're looking for top quality at this price point, I think this is a really good choice. For literally everybody else, oh my God, $350, $360, that's a lot of money. You have to specifically like this to go after it. But if you do, this is nice. It's a nice knife. I'd love to know who made it. That's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.